Welcome to the Outer Realm with Michelle and Amelia Pisano. Airing live on the United Public Radio Network, 105.3 FM in New Orleans.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Outer Realm, a Wednesday night segment. We're broadcasting live on the United Public Radio Network, UFO Paranormal Radio Network, 105.3 and 107.7 FM for the beautiful city of New Orleans. We're fully sponsored by the amazing people over at Folgers who have had the faith in us to basically be on our journey since the very start. So thank you, Folgers. We just could not do it without you, nor would we want to. Also, big thank you to Justin Snicker, aka Dr. Snick, the sonic surgeon, for his contribution of his time, his voice, and his music for the intro that you just heard. He's an award-winning composer of Halloween, horror, sci-fi, and dark wave electronic music, which can be found on all of your favorite music platforms. Also, big thank you to Steve McGinnis, the artist behind all of our banners and logos here at the show. Check him out on Facebook and Instagram. Also specializes in the horror genre and, of course, does amazing commission pieces. So there's nothing he can't do. And I've seen his work, and it's fabulous. So check him out indeed. Tonight, the Outer Realm is having an open mic segment, which means that you guys in the chat room are going to be a part of the show. We address your stories, your questions, your perspectives, and of course, share our own. But in order to do that, guys, you have to go to the regular streaming platforms. Hopefully, go to our YouTube page. It's a little bit easier to have everybody in one spot. And hopefully we'll be able to get to everybody. It's going to be pretty laid back because, Amelia's back. Yay!
I'm so glad to be here. I missed Michelle. I missed all of you. I really missed Michelle's face. We talk all the time, but like the face thing,
I know. It's been a while. Wayne says he can't see it, so I don't know what his deal is. It's there.
Who said that?
Wayne.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't know.
Hi,
I don't know. He's having a struggle, so I'm just checking the crocheted ET. I know. God, you know what? He's part of the show. He's one of the compadres.
You never know. He might have a family coming. You just don't know. Hi, Janie.
Right. I know.
Oh my gosh.
I'm just going to check it.
Thank you, Ruth. Sure. I missed being here.
Just to be sure. We are live, so
everybody can see us. So I mean, they're on YouTube.
So. Yep.
Yeah.
That's right. I don't know. There we go. Ruth missed you.
Thank you so much. I had to be there for Mini Bubbles. Although she's not Bubbles, she's grumpy, but yeah. So
hey, Tyler. I know, but it's nice. It's nice. We're happy to have you whenever you can make it.
Thank you. And of course, I love these open mics. Like, these are my favorite shows. I mean, I love having guests and everything, but when it's the two of us and the chat room, I love hearing the stories and their experiences. Like, I really enjoy it. Yeah.
It is nice. I like it when it's laid back and people everybody just jokes around, everybody has a good time. And people get really comfortable because you all get to know one another in the chat room as well. So you get to bounce ideas around. I see people will often answer questions for other people who may be waiting. So I think it's really fantastic. And
Janie and I go back to Bobby. Janie and I go way back to Bobby Brown. Yeah. But I love her.
Yeah. See, it's nice. And I love the way everybody greets one another. And Wayne, you found it.
Yay. Yay, Wayne.
So
go Wayne. Not your birthday. Go Wayne. See, that's the bubbles they're used to.
There we go.
Usually it's in my driveway, but anyways, we'll do it from here.
Got to videotape that and send it.
Oh my gosh.
But you know
Nobody
what?
wants to see that.
I realize how we're already in October, spooky month, man. And I realize because we are already booking into January.
Oh, oh.
And I was making a booking for
Oh,
January today. And it's just like,
I got the chills. As you
where
said
is it going? Where's the time going?
It's so cold in January.
But I have to say, man, really, really great guests coming on. So I'm just really excited about it. So in a way, I want to rush it because I want you guys
Thank
to check out
you.
our great guests. But in another way, it's like, patience, patience.
Oh my gosh, because that means Christmas shopping. So let's just get into Halloween.
I know. Oh, no. I can't get that far ahead, man. That's just too much for me. But so,
I'm not going to mention the craft store, but everybody knows who it is because they don't pay for this.
did you not see what I posted on my Facebook today? We're kicking the
No.
Christmas tree because it was up there in the video before it was
See, I
Halloween.
love Christmas, and I walked
know.
into this store because I'm, of course, making yet another knit crocheted thing for my daughter, and I needed buttons and I needed some other stuff, and I walk in and I see Christmas all to the left of me, and I've got to tell you, because
I'm
I
just
am
like,
a
no,
Christmas person.
no,
Michelle's like,
I know, no, not before
and
Halloween.
I'm like, la 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 la,
No.
walking through the
See,
aisles.
you embrace that after Halloween.
Yeah, and I said to the
Halloween.
lady that works there, because of course they know me by a lot of yarn.
I know,
And
but
I went in there and I said, "It just makes me want to put my tree up." And she looks at me, she goes, "Shh."
no. We don't want to do things like that before Halloween.
Oh,
It's
let
just,
me tell you something. My daughter's got her tree up in her office, Halloween. Like,
yeah, okay,
wow.
see, Halloween. It's just
Yeah.
Halloween. But
Yes.
along
It's
with
time for Halloween.
Halloween and along with October and the autumn and the solstice and the time changing is coming, and now of course it's
An
getting
extra hour of
darker
sleep.
sooner.
I love it.
I love it as well. It's my
Yes.
favorite time of the year for
Me
many, many
too.
reasons.
Well,
Like
I
I'm
like
one of
to wear
those
boots.
people that could live someplace where it's dark most of the time. People go, "What's wrong with you? Don't you like the sunlight?" I'm like, "Look at
Yes.
me.
No, but
Look at this
yes,
skin.
of
Do I look
course
like I
she
need
likes the
sunlight?"
sunlight. She drives in it. You do like it. You like the vitamin, you like the energy, but it's not the heat is not for you. You're an active person.
I
So
have always preferred the dark
I
nights
I
to the
like
day.
dark. I
I'm
like
funny that
sun when
way.
I get on a plane and fly to a beach, but I do
I I
autumn
always fly at
is
night.
I think everybody who's in this field loves the fall. I don't think there's anyone in this field that doesn't love the
I
fall.
just don't like the ridiculous heat of the summer.
No.
Love
This is
I
comfortable
love the
weather.
fall. I love when the leaves change, and I love when the energy changes.
Yeah, and it can still be sunny, and the foliage is all like golden and red and purple and blue. We have some amazing,
Yeah.
beautiful foliage on the east coast of Canada that goes right into United States and Maine, and you've seen those
I
photographs.
bet
I've shared
I've
them.
been there. Yeah, I
They're
love it.
gorgeous. The
I love it.
Rockies, they have
Yeah.
purple and blue leaves. Like,
Yeah.
it's just stunning. How can you not? I'm just not the person that can live in anything but four seasons. I really do enjoy it.
Yes. Thank you, Tamara.
Yeah, I love it. Hi, Tamara.
I
I
know.
love the fall. Autumn is my favorite time of year. When it can still be sunny, you go out, you grab yourself a Folgers coffee, and you go for a walk, and
Yeah.
you can what happens when you go for a walk
I know. I know.
in the fall?
Grounding, and you just enjoy everything, hang out with the elementals,
Mm.
I just love this time of year. The energy does change, and along with that, some people I still have to cut the grass in the
That's
dark.
why I'm
I
laughing.
know,
It's my husband's the
sorry.
same way. He's like, "I gotta come home earlier. I'm
I
cutting the grass in the
know,
dark."
I
Yeah.
know.
You really don't
Look who
have to.
decided to join the party.
Hi, Chris. How are
Yeah.
you?
But
How are you?
this is the time of year where allegedly, in our field of the paranormal, it's believed that the veil gets thinner and makes it easier for spirits to cross in between dimensions and realms. And people start having more experiences. And sometimes you
Mhm.
just make be questioning yourself and going, did I just hear something or did I just see something? What's going on? Is it me or is something really going on? Or you get some people who are like, no, the house is settling. There's nothing going on. So I don't know, guys, chime in. Do you guys feel that energy changing? Do you, if you have a haunted house, do you feel that things amp up more this time of year? Because when we had the manor, Wayne and I felt that
Oh, but there was stuff going on there.
it's all the time. It
You
was
knew October was coming before October knew it was coming.
I know. There was always something going on there. But I just find things did sort of um act up a little bit more in the cooler months. And
Mhm.
I know in this, when I've worked with people who've contacted me, even in the summer months, like all of a sudden things amp up. And I'm like, well, just turn the air conditioner off in the house for a while because that cold, dry, crispy air apparently makes it a little easier for things to move around. Maybe like the rest of us, they feel weighed down and tired and sluggish when it's hot and humid. I don't know. But,
Yeah.
they would experiment with the temperature and find that things did act up a little bit when the air dried out a little bit and it
There's
got
more.
colder.
Well, there's electric current in the air when it's
Exactly.
cold. Yeah.
Static electricity, we are energy, right? So you have that static energy in the air. It would make sense
Oh,
that
yeah.
things could move
Yeah.
around.
How many times when you're putting gas in your vehicle in the winter, you get zapped? Like they tell
Mhm.
you to touch the vehicle first because you can actually
Right.
blow yourself up. Well, that was pleasant,
It's
wasn't
true,
it?
like, I know.
You can always count on me
Happens to me all the
killer,
freaking
the
time.
kill and the gore.
Tamara, go ahead. You want to catch it? I'm
Sure.
sure I used to blap her off
Now
this
she's
last
got
6
it.
weeks.
Yeah, now her
Okay, good.
sidekick's here, and she's like, "Ee." It's okay. It's okay. I've just okay. Tamara says, I think you get more activity in the fall and spring due to weather and storms.
I would agree.
Yeah,
Yes.
any storms, but you do have some wicked, but like butt because I don't want to say the other word, storms in the fall.
Mhm. Oh,
Like
yeah.
thunder and lightly, you get a storm in the fall here, especially in the southern part of the province, and it really kicks up a hell of a lot of activity in the wind.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, that static charge even from
Yeah.
lightning and so on, right? So, I believe that for sure. Chris Phoenix.
Hi, Chris. Chris says if you're in tune with earth energy, you can tell the differences when the seasons change. It's a subtle shift, but you can feel it. I
It's
agree.
subtle for some people. Some of us feel it like, well,
Too
when that
too
when
early.
it's yeah, it's pretty major for us. Like we said last night with energy. Oh,
Yes.
it was a
Yeah.
changing. Yes, it
It's
was.
funny that
Yes,
every
it
single
was.
one of us had trouble sleeping though.
Everybody.
And I don't even live in the house. So,
I know.
but that's my connection with Michelle. Um, Sun Dragon, love it. Love that name. Oh yes, my back hallway is like Trans Canada Highway for spiritual passerbys. Maybe it's because I keep the heat off till near Christmas, like Michelle. Speaking of, how do
Exactly.
you keep the heat off?
Don't need heat unless sometimes you
Unless
just
you're
have to
in
take the air
BC.
off
I
in the
don't know how
morning,
you could do that because you can't keep the heat off in Alberta. I can tell you that.
I
Brr,
don't know.
or Montana.
I don't know. I don't know.
Ooh,
But I'll
there.
tell you, like growing up, because I have spoken of my experiences on interviews and for the first time told the whole story on my paranormal nightmare. So I'm not going to get into the whole darn story, but I would find even back then, like in hindsight, it would act up more in this time of the year. And we were surrounded, like we were in a valley with a large lake, and we had all kinds of mountains behind us and forest and everything just seemed to be excited because it wasn't being beat down by the heat. But
Yeah.
everything, the energy, even in the forest itself, would just amp up. It wasn't even so much just paranormal
The
stuff. It,
forest.
it was just life on average.
Nature.
Yeah, exactly.
Animals.
So grab
Grab a blanket
a
and a kitty bubbles. I
yeah,
sneeze like mad when I have cats, and cats love me, which is really funny.
right.
But yeah, kitty. I have a old dog here. I don't know where he went, but he's blind. I grab him.
This is also a
Elementals.
fact. Yeah,
Yeah, Tamara says I find elementals are more active in the fall. I believe so. I believe, they
they're
have to feed.
forest
Yeah,
dwellers,
yeah, and like
right?
bears, they kind of have to hibernate
Mind
and
you,
feed.
we've seen them kind of misbehave a lot of times, but I think that I don't know. I think it's strange because if you're looking at the autumn time, so the solstices, things get put to bed when you're looking at ancient folklore, right? You start turning up your gardens, getting everything ready, putting everything to bed for the spring, right? You're supposed to hunker down. Reap the rest of your gardens, rip them out, take all the weeds out, take
Yep,
all the
feed the
dead stuff
soil
out,
for the
and
winter.
right?
Yeah.
So, isn't it funny that we go through this whole process, yet in the end, we end up amping up? We amp up. Energy picks up. It just gets more active. It just gets animals get friskier. You see the skunks out around like this area. There's like all kinds of them. They're all excited. They're all out there. Like, don't you
The
guys like go
bats.
into hibernation mode? Like, what's wrong with you?
Yeah.
But no, squirrels are getting lively. Everybody's getting ready to hunker down for the winter, but yet they're all like excited. So it would stand to
Yeah.
reason for me that spirits would as well. I mean, I suppose if we're getting, into locations that are really ancient and you're going
Mm,
back to people who did follow the different solstices because there weren't watches back then, right? So they would just follow the stars and follow the seasons.
that's how
Um,
my dad gardened even to the end, and that's this last decade. He still did it that way.
yeah,
Yeah.
right.
Yes.
So I don't know. Anybody got some tales they want to share with us?
Ruth has 10 cats and a dog. You can just cuddle right under those, Ruth, if you get
It's like an
cold.
Insta blanket.
That is so sweet. Her
I know.
daughter rescued a mama and her 6 kittens. God bless
Aw,
her. That's
this
wonderful.
is like an Insta blanket. It's just like
Yes.
all these little kitties
Yes.
get in there. I know.
Yeah, until
I
they
know.
start.
I know. But
Hi,
along
Brian.
Hey,
Yeah.
Brian. But along with all of that and things amping up, it's a time of year where people who are interested in the paranormal and, things of that nature they start going out and they really want to have that experience. Now, I remember doing a lot of events. I'm semi-retired now. There's no real urge to do them. I've been saying no, but thank you. Um, Ghost walks, things like that. It was a lot of fun. And this was a
Yeah.
time of year where people would come out in droves. And I still get messages. I got a long one tonight, actually, where people are at that point where they're like, we're trying to find places to go.
You
We
know,
want to do some investigating, but we don't know where to go. We
you
don't know what to do.
need to heed caution as well, though.
Well, that's just it. But see, at one time, because I know I used to do all kinds of them, October was always a blur for me
Yeah.
because I literally I would book up a year ahead for October, and whether it would be speaking engagements, whether it would be large events, ghost tours, it didn't
Yeah.
matter.
Haunted
People
footwalks.
came out in droves.
Yeah.
I remember a ghost walk one night. Honestly, we had like almost 200 plus people there. I'm like, I used to do the events at Casa Loma. Same idea. They capped it at like 150. And I mean, these would get full
That's
every
a
single
lot.
night. They kept adding dates.
That's a lot of 150 is a lot
I know.
because it's hard.
Oh no, I had a big staff.
Yeah, because that's
I just
tough.
kept bringing people on, and they kept adding days, but it
Yeah.
shows you there's a need.
You know what? I really believe just as you do, because we've had this conversation where things are always happening. We just notice more when it's quiet. Well, the
Mhm.
fall is quiet. There's less people out. There's less people running around. There's less outdoor parties.
Because
There's
they're
no
saving it for
one's
nighttime at an event.
Yes, and people are not out there. So when you're walking in the park, there's very few people, so you notice a lot more happening. That could have been something that was happening before, but subtly. So between less energy in the air and more people around, you didn't notice it. But now you're out in a park or
Mhm,
a place where there's been a war like Gettysburg or Castelloma or
mhm,
historical place, you're going to feel it because there's
mhm.
no intrusion, and that amped up energy
Well,
is a beautiful
I agree
cocktail
with
for a
you.
great experience.
I agree with you because
Yeah. That's what
you
I
know,
said when I
people.
started. I said, "We agree on this."
It's true. I know we agree on most
We
things,
always
but
do.
I think that people, we can't help it. We come with
No.
baggage. Our lives are busy. Sometimes you're juggling a family, you're juggling a job, you're juggling kids got soccer, got to work, got two jobs, maybe have to do groceries. Like there's always something, homework. We just absorb whatever energy we can find. Like sometimes you go out there and you just suck it in. You can't help it. And it doesn't make us bad people. It's just some
No.
people can't help it.
Yeah,
You're not
tunnel
aware of it.
vision. No.
Yeah, and you don't ground you just, but with that being said, things can also come back onto you that way also. So I think what Amelia is saying is as eloquently as possible is that when we all stay home, the spirits come out, and
Yep.
because they're not getting, like, we're not sucking the life out of that energy. I think sometimes in these large events, because I've seen it happen, I've done events where I've been invited to go and not to be a speaker, but just to
Yeah.
participate. And things go very, very quiet, and people are like, well, we're not getting anything because I think
Mhm.
there's just too many people,
Yeah.
right?
I believe that. I believe it's too much for sometimes it depends on what is there. Is it a human entity? Is it demonic would just like feed off of that
Mhm.
and find a way to play with it. But
Well, negative things have more energy, I
yeah,
believe, than a human spirit, let's say.
absolutely.
You know, this is a really good point if you want to take this one, Amelia.
Yes, I will. Thank you. Tamara
The
says
C word,
after I think after
the C
the
word.
C word, more people have become more interested in the paranormal because they had the time to notice the weird things in their life. That and sourdough bread. But yes. No, that was like the craziest, weirdest thing. But anyways,
Right.
yeah, absolutely. I think they were watching a lot of television and they were watching, I mean, there was a ton of streaming going on and there became this huge interest in it. And then they're home.
Mhm.
So all of a sudden, when you put that glass down and you come back and it's not there,
Right.
you know, because
It's
not a
true.
lot of time has passed that something moved that.
And sometimes it is. It's very, very subtle. It's
Yeah.
like that's a perfect example. It's one I
Well, it's the
often
one you
use.
use. That's why I just copied
Yeah,
that.
no, but it's a good one because it goes to show you we really are busy in our lives. And if
Yes.
that glass isn't where you left it, or even if it's moved a few inches, would you notice enough to say, that glass is moved? Or would you just say to yourself, oh, yeah, right, I left the glass there this morning. I didn't put it away. Most people, myself included, and I've been doing this a long time, I would just go, oh, yeah, right, I left the glass there. I would not necessarily notice that it has moved. So maybe it is just about paying more attention to detail. And if you're forced to live with yourself, nothing else to do, you're very,
You pretty much know. Can I
yeah,
share something?
yeah.
Um, I notice that 10 o'clock at night in the summer,
Mhm.
at 10 o'clock at night in the fall feels different when I'm
How so?
walking back and forth to my car, and
How so?
it's
Is
not
it
the
your mindset?
temperature.
Is it your nerves? Is it what is
No,
it?
it's
Explain
I
it.
pick up that energy right away, where in the summer, I don't pick it up as much.
Right.
But in the cold air, it's like right away, the hair on the back of my neck, and I'm boom, like I'm in tune with it right away, and I can feel that
Mm.
I'm being watched. Where if I'm outside at 10 o'clock at night in the summer, I don't feel the same way.
Mhm. Right. Sorry. Sorry, Wayne. When your charger's unplugged several days in a row, it's not Wayne who's causing this nonsense. Whatever. I'll leave that one right there.
Oh, he's settling down. Good. He just walked
But
by my foot.
you're very sensitive to energies, obviously. So I think you are going to notice even the most subtle of
Yeah, but
changes.
it's so funny how there's such a big difference between fall and summer at the
Mhm.
same time of night. It's
Right.
just very in your face. So if
Right.
you look for it, I guarantee you you're going to feel it.
Mhm. I agree with you. But do you think some of it, I mean, we're trained. I think we've trained ourselves to become anybody who's really intuitive. It's instinctive. It's like second nature, and it really is like that for many of us. But some people just don't or couldn't be bothered. But do you
Yeah.
think some of it is that instinct of natural fear of the darkness? So they just feel like there's something there, or maybe they're just more aware that there's something
Well,
there.
maybe for other people, I like the black the
I
dark.
know, I know.
I could walk through a cemetery at night and not flinch
I've
by
done it.
myself. I've done
Yeah.
it.
Hmm.
I don't feel it, but I think it's also because when I do hear or see something, I speak to it. I address it. You know what I mean? So I don't feel it. It feels normal for me. But I think
Hmm.
with the mindset of the fall and the horror movies and Halloween,
Hmm.
yeah, it could be
Right.
something that you're imagining. I'm not, it
Hmm.
doesn't mean it's happening. I just believe that it's more likely to happen at this time because you are aware
Hmm.
that it's possible, and that mindset is set that, yes, it's gonna happen, so you're gonna be, like, wide open, take it all in.
Hmm. So
Does that
yes,
make sense? I don't know. See,
it
Michelle's the only
does.
person that understands me, so
I
yeah.
know it's a hand movement. I understand it. I want to come back to poor Wayne here.
Yes.
So
Poor
this has
Wayne.
happened a few times in the house where my phone charger gets like it's an external charger that gets unplugged, and I go to grab it and it's not charged, and I'm like, "Did you just unplug the charger?" And he looks at me with a fear of God and he says, "Why would I do that?" Because you're crazy or something. You have a death wish. I don't know exactly why, but you're pretty much the only one that knows it's there. And he's like, I wouldn't just go unplug your charger. I'm like, okay. but but he doesn't.
Things like that get noticed.
I know.
Yes.
I don't unplug it. He doesn't unplug it. So it's just sort of like, are we projecting energy?
Or did something move it?
Right?
Yeah, or someone.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So
Well,
you
how do
know,
you explain all my appliances? I do break more appliances in the fall and winter than I do in the summer.
so then let's explore that. So is it that our energy also changes?
Well, I know that if I go into the grocery store in the winter and I could be walking through the grocery store for 20 minutes and then touch that freezer door and I get the shock of my freaking life, like
Right.
electrocuted.
Yeah, you can
That
get that
happens
on the
to me.
cart.
Oh, it's
Yeah,
awful.
I know.
It's awful.
But
And
that's static. There's just more
con
static in the
that's
air.
what I'm saying. I believe that has a lot to do with the transference of that with you
Mhm.
together combined.
Mhm.
And if you PK, that's even freaking worse. It's just It's just
Effing
worse.
worse. I know. So projection
Yeah.
of energy. So let's talk about projection of energy then. Psychokinesis. We've mentioned it before, and projection of energy is quite common. So if our energy changes, or maybe because there is more static in the air, as it gets colder and drier, is it easier for us to project energy?
I believe so.
Well, for you, you zap things year
I
round. So
break
I don't
things all
know.
the time, but it's worse maybe because I realize that I'm buying it because I've replaced things around or after Christmas.
Mhm.
Like, how many toaster ovens have I gone through since I've known you?
I
You know,
know.
like, and it's always right after Christmas. I'm
I
going,
know.
damn it! Like, I had like this is ridiculous, but
Uh,
yeah. I couldn't locate my chainsaw wrench this morning, so it must have been Michelle going into the garage and moving it, yes? I mean, what other explanation could there be?
from
The
my
same
bed,
person it's the
sure.
same person that moved unplugged the charger.
Yeah,
That's
right?
my
Because let
guess.
me tell you
Yeah.
something. This guy's up at the crack of dawn. I'm like not even a thought in my freaking head at that hour. So you were on
Oh,
your own with that one, mister.
Tamara said I need a ground wire attached to me or to my appliances.
Maybe just wear copper bracelets or something, Bubbles.
Doesn't that conduct energy?
But it grounds as well. Because if you
Okay.
think about it, when you're installing a light, you have your copper grounding wire.
Does rose gold count? No.
Maybe.
I'll try it. I will
Get a
try
copper
anything.
rosary.
I'll try it. Yeah, I'll
Gosh, I'm gonna
try
go
it.
buy you one now. But
Oh my gosh. I'm already,
copper rosary.
it's those deal days on that particular website.
But let-
Yeah.
but
It's
let's
I gotta try
sidetrack.
that. Thank you, Tamara.
Let's sidetrack for a minute into something that's in the news with the Zach Bagans purchase. Do
Oh,
you want to take it? Take it,
no.
Bubbles. Take it. Take it, Bubbles. Take it. Yeah,
I'm a
yeah.
little perturbed because I wanted to buy this. I'm just a little bit upset.
Okay, so explain to everybody that because this is like this in the paranormal world, this is like news.
This is
Right.
huge. It did make TMZ, but they didn't they only referred to who sold it on their website, not in the clip. I
Right.
know how they work. My daughter was a commentator on TMZ for 3 or 4
Right.
years and really well liked there. So anyways, I know how they work, but Bagans is a big deal in the paranormal field, and that's how he made it on TMZ. I can
Love
guarantee
them
you.
or hate them. That's it.
I can guarantee you anyone else bought this box in the paranormal world, it would not have hit the entertainment pop culture
Right.
television. No, it never would have happened. So,
Okay. So
anyways, he purchased what is the sick call box and
diary.
the diary is a separate purchase, but he purchased first the right box.
The last
That
rites
was
box.
the last rites, yes, and
Okay.
it's also a sick call box that's open up, and you can see the photographs if you Google search it. He bought this from Christopher St. Booth. Christopher has had it for a long time. This was used by the priest that exorcised Annalise Michel, who is Exorcism of Emily Rose, the film is based on.
Right.
And
I know.
I don't know
Pat.
who. Oh,
Pat.
Cat. No, that's
Okay.
what when you said like a hobbit. Okay, I get
That's
it.
right.
I get it. I
Like
get it. Yeah.
Bilbo Baggins.
Baggins. Yeah, he pronounces his name Baggins. I
Baggins,
used to call it
Baggins.
Baggins. I will be with you on that one. So Zach bought this, and he also bought the diary. The diary belonged to the Exorcist boy. Now, anyone who understands The Exorcist as not the film on
That's right.
television, but the
That's right. Of a young
documentary
man.
that
Yeah.
the Booth brothers produced and directed, and Bishop James Long, a dear friend of ours, was also on that. Chip Coffey was on that. They went in to exercise the house afterwards. It was a young boy, and he kept a diary. Well, Chris St. Booth had possession of this diary, and he sold both items to Zach Bagans. I'm a little upset because I wanted the Annalise box like years ago because I bought a few off of him at auction. Chris will auction off things from Waverly Hills and stuff like that. So, anyways, no, it wasn't a girl. It was a young boy. I think
That's right.
he changed a lot of the story to protect the boy. And he did not have recollection of it afterwards, which is quite
And
common
it went
after
on
an
for weeks
exorcism.
and weeks too, by the way. Yeah.
Yeah, which isn't common. It's usually a lot longer. Like Emily Rose too, the story, it's done in a few months, and it wasn't like that.
No.
That's why we always recommend the film The Right, which we'll
Right.
talk about later. But anyways, I, yeah, he purchased it for his museum, and I'm angry because I tried to buy it. So that's,
I know. He and I had started
I
bidding
actually
against each
wanted
other
to.
for a cauldron one time that ended up in his
Oh,
museum.
well,
I
I
went,
actually wanted to buy
I
it,
know who
and
this is.
I would have given it to Michelle because I know that it would have been safe there. I think my
Ah.
family would have been freaked out to have it here, but I wanted it a long time ago. I've made several offers to him, and I can show you chats. Chris, please, like, no,
Yeah.
I can't give it up, Amelia. It's just I have to keep it. I'm like, okay. Yes,
Well,
Bishop James is the real deal. I
he's
took
been
a
on the show, yeah, a couple of
Yeah,
times.
I took
Great.
a demonology
He's the
course
real
from
deal.
him. Yeah.
Maybe, maybe he should have blessed everything.
Yeah, it wasn't him who blessed it. It was, I don't know,
Another
another
bishop.
bishop, but there's
Right.
controversy with that too, so I won't speak of it because I
Yeah.
don't want to get sued. But
But
anyways,
but do you think, while we're on this, and this is big news, when you have relics of this nature, because we're not talking a typical museum, I do believe that some things are better off in a museum. I donated a collection that I had, to someone who I felt would do
yes,
the right thing with it. And but the thing is I donated it.
that's
I
what
didn't
I
sell it.
wanted to do.
I
Yeah,
donated it. And because I know this collection is in the perfect hands and it will do what it's supposed to do, or wherever the cards may lay.
it's a
That's what I
responsibility.
chose to do. So do you feel, because this is not that type of a museum, this is a type of a museum where people can go and see all these things, but it's also designed
To
to,
freak you out.
yeah.
I
You think it's in the
honestly,
right place?
no, and I've never been around the box other than in photographs, and
Mhm.
I personally, as someone who owns the the sick call box that the priest used to use, it
Yeah,
comes
I've
with the
had one as
candles.
well. Yeah.
Yeah, like, someone who owns them, I don't feel anything off of them but really good energy because you have to remember these are things that were used in prayer and for good.
Mhm.
So do we he never said it's haunted, and I would imagine that if you follow the Catholic religion, the Roman Catholic religion, sorry, as she did, and she was
Mhm.
devout and she was touched by stigmata, that her soul and her energy would not be anywhere near that box.
I would agree with you.
And
Yeah.
neither would anything that was exorcised from her, which was Legion, because it was removed from her and she died from it. So
Mhm.
it's controversial, and I love Chris St. Booth. He's a good friend. We've had him on the show several times, but I need more. I'm not saying that Chris is saying the story because he's not. I want to see what Zach is going to say about this.
Yes. Well, I mean, you have to understand that it's a collection, extraordinary
Oh,
collection.
obviously, yeah.
And you know, are
I think
do
he's
you,
made
I
a lot of
feel that they
mistakes,
may
though.
well, do you feel it might be exploited?
I'm well. It absolutely just was because
There you
nobody
go.
even knew that Christopher had it.
Right.
How many people knew that Chris had it? He didn't talk about it.
What?
He talked about it a few times in his auctions, but he never put it up for auction.
Mm,
Never, never, ever, ever. And it's a
why do
beautiful
you
call
think he would
box.
let it go? Because
I think
sometimes,
he felt that's what it should be is in a museum. I think he was very excited for that. You would have to ask him.
yeah, because sometimes I feel, I am a collector of many extraordinary pieces, but I also feel that I am a guardian of those pieces. I own human skulls. One is, 650 years old. And to me, I am, it came to my possession because, a friend who deals in this sort of thing says, I think this belongs with you because I'm a caretaker, you
yeah,
know?
yeah.
And I feel as though I know this individual will be safe. And there's nothing attached to it, just so you know. When I say
It's
individual, because
respect.
it really is, it came with all kinds of paperwork. It came, it was fully documented. My pieces are documented. And I feel like a caretaker. And even when I donated the other collection, I knew it was going to another caretaker, someone who understood the historical value. Any monetary value was there and not spoken of because
It's priceless, really.
and it's about integrity.
It's integrity and it's responsibility. I don't know how this was purchased or how much it was. I didn't read the article on the site on
Right,
TMZ
right,
website.
right,
Um, if I wanted more, I could easily just contact a certain Mr.
right,
Levin, but
right,
I don't want to intrude on that.
right.
I think I always question Zach on
Mhm.
anything that he purchases. The fact that he went to touch Annabelle, the fact that it was brought to his museum is
Yeah.
something that, please, no offense to the family that cares for this piece, this thing. I just feel like it shouldn't leave. There was a reason why Ed and Lorraine Warren put it behind glass in a room, separate and locked away from the house, and have it blessed. Now,
Oh, I've
there's
I've
some,
met Annabelle.
I know you have, and there's
Yeah,
controversy.
Tony, the family was so gracious with me. They were
He's
just amazing.
wonderful people and nothing
Yes,
nothing to
yes.
offend them. And
I
I
was
know he
treated like
was upset.
royalty. They're wonderful people.
I know Tony was upset that he had gone
Yes.
to the doll. I do know that.
Yeah.
I believe that he did it out of the greatest intention, but I'm still the old school. Ed and Lorraine locked it up for a reason. Now there's controversy on one of the films. They say, "Oh, we have it blessed once a month." On the other film, that's Annabelle, they say it's blessed twice a month. Well,
Mhm.
whatever it is, it's blessed and
Well,
it's close.
I
Would
knew
you want to be on that plane knowing
I was
that doll is
actually
on the plane?
told when I was at Lorraine's, I was told that, it was bus every morning for a while.
I
Lorraine,
believe she did that, but
Ed had
yeah,
made arrangements, yeah, for it to be blessed, the museum to be blessed every morning, not just the doll, arrangements were made. It was
yeah.
taken very seriously. I think, especially when you have somebody who just like I always say toddler because I got to touch it. Like, don't touch the stove, it's hot. I got to touch it
Hi,
anyway.
Simon.
And they go on
Yeah.
there and they touch it and they get burned and go, oh, So
I know, and it's
it's
tough
like,
with Zach. It's tough with Zach. I would love to sit across from him and have a conversation with him.
well, he's a brilliant businessman, clearly.
Oh, is
He's
he
brilliant.
ever? He's brilliant.
That's what I mean.
He
Love
is.
him or hate him, the guy's got it going on.
I've said so many times that he has evolved and grown in this field, and you
Of
can see
course.
it from the beginning when he began and
Of
how
course.
he used to go up against everything and challenge and provoke, and he's changed so much. And I'm
Yes.
sure it's about the experience, right? I said
Yes.
hi, Samantha, in case you didn't hear me, my niece. And like I'm just when it comes to him and this museum, I'm just me, the crime side always has the skepticism in it. It always has to look at every angle of it. It's not just, hey, he bought this, it's
Mm.
a great I wanted it, but I didn't want it in my home, but I knew that it is a beautiful call box, but what we don't know, and I would like to know, is where else was it used? Because priests would have their own boxes back then. You
Right.
don't use a box now. You'll see them
I
come
don't
with like
know
a little
that
pouch,
I
and they
personally
come
don't
to the
feel that they would have used it again after going through such a horrific ordeal with Annalise. I mean,
well, he never practiced his priesthood after that
okay,
anyway.
so
So yeah,
yeah,
it would make
so it
sense
may
that
have
they
been
didn't
just
use it. But
yeah,
how did it get here?
right.
Because he was so adamant and protective of anything that was involved. I mean, it wasn't even him who told the story. He asked the attorney, the defense attorney, to tell the story, who gave it to a friend who was an
Mhm.
author who wrote the book based
Right,
on his account. Because
right.
if you've seen the story, the film, it says, I don't care if I'm in jail. He never cared to be out of jail or what happened to him. All that mattered was that her story was told.
That's right.
It had to mean, oh, no way. Are you
Ooh.
there? I lost power.
Well, you're still kicking.
I think the dog hit something. Oh
Dun,
no,
dun, dun.
it's rebooting.
Okay.
So,
All I see is this little face in the dark.
are you kidding me? Did he touch anything? No.
Okay,
No,
I'm
my
gonna take your
electricity
mic
is
off.
on.
Just click your mic or your camera off and go back and set it. Okay, there we go.
Sorry.
No, that's okay. We're still there.
I'm just like, what the heck? No, it's everything came back up, but I just have to turn my light on.
Okay, so I'm gonna get this while you're doing that. So Chris says, I don't connect Hollywood movies with real life. Ed Lorraine did real work, and movies are just that, movies. Yes, I mean I've been to Lorraine's, I've been to the museum. Like I said, just was treated like royalty. They just like $1,000,000. They put on a really good event. They took all the necessary precautions. You couldn't just go in there touching everything you wanted. That's not how it worked. When it comes to movies, it is. They are just that. You don't have that sort of creative control. You give a story, and as if the stories aren't terrifying enough, Hollywood decides, oh, let's throw some zing in it and see what
Yes.
else we can do
When
to
I
get it
speak of
going.
Annalise Michel, I'm speaking of her actual story. A lot of her story was accurate in that
Look for
film,
the
Chris.
documentaries.
The documentary is the way to go.
Yeah.
There's footage on her different exorcisms and different
Yes.
types of rites that they did. I'm speaking on someone who researched it, not just the movie. I use the film as a reference because people are familiar with it.
Right.
But I just would like to know, he did this exorcism, so he was obviously approved by the Vatican, which we do know because it
Mhm.
was in Germany. It was probably a lot easier for him to get approval, and it was way back. It wasn't in the recent last 25 years. This was way back.
Mhm.
So I have to wonder how many exorcisms he performed using that box, because she wasn't his first.
Right. Right.
You don't
Right.
send a a priest to do an exorcism on a young woman and give approval by the Vatican by himself if it's
Right.
his first one. It wouldn't have been him.
Right.
He would have just been in the circle of who they have. And what you don't see is that there's doctors there. Sometimes they have paramedics on site. They will have
Mhm.
legal representation. There's a lot to an
Yes.
exorcism, and
Yes.
he would also have other priests with him.
Mhm.
So those are pieces that are missing from the story in the movie, but not when you research it. So
Right.
I would like to know, where else and whom else did he use that on?
Right.
Because it's not
Is
just
it a
her.
build,
It's
basically?
just because
And
she was the
here,
big story,
let's
right?
take it a step further, Amelia, before we get to Tamara. So
Yep.
if he was doing other exorcisms and he was using the box, do you think, I mean, it's possible that something could have attached to the box, or did, in doing the blessing or last rites, did it draw something, energy to the box? And would that be
Well, yeah,
carried over
because
to the next
absolutely,
person?
because
Yeah.
when an exorcism
So I see.
happens, and when an exorcism happens, Michelle knows this more better than I do. That priest was chosen long before he was brought there.
Yeah.
You are chosen to go
Mhm.
up against it. They pick who they go up against. Don't kid yourself.
Yeah.
There's a reason why we use the word target. Um,
And we'll we'll
sometimes,
we'll
and
talk about Malachi Martin in a minute
yes,
also.
yes,
We'll talk about that. If can we
yeah,
maybe get to Tamara's question?
sure. I already forgot. It's okay.
No.
Um,
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's, 2 days after Thanksgiving. I'm dying here.
Okay, we'll answer
Hi,
some questions
Jonathan.
here
Happy
too. So
spooky month. Tamara says, my concerns with the object Zach bought is what precautions is he taking to protect people seeing this object? Seeing any of the objects, I agree with you. I'd
right.
like to know what kind of protection. I've never been there. I bet you could probably go on his site and see how things are set up. He's probably got a lot of photographs. I've never been there. There must be a gallery of some sort on there. But
Well, he does have things like the Divot box, which is under glass. A
but
lot of
whose
these things
Divock
are
box
under
is it?
glass or behind glass, so you get to walk in the room, but you don't get to handle it. You don't get to see it like firsthand. Everything, some things are the whole room is behind glass. You just get to look through this into the room and see what's there.
You don't think that it's a little this is where he's a brilliant businessman. He didn't announce it until this weekend.
Right.
It's October.
And how long did he have it?
I don't know. We don't know.
Curious. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it'd be interesting. I would imagine that took some time, being
Yes.
as he's in Vegas and Chris is not.
Mhm.
So I would imagine that took some time. And
Yes.
we would only know if we brought Chris on and grilled him. But I don't know if he can talk about everything either. I have to read the
He may
article.
not be, yeah, he
He
may not.
shared a lot on his Facebook. He
Right.
shared a lot in the post, but I didn't have time to
Right.
read it.
Right.
I didn't wanna be another comment on there. I wanted to message him
Mhm.
separately to congratulate him, but
Mhm.
yeah, I just hope it's the right thing. Um, I know Chris, it's a great intention. I don't know Zach personally, so
Right.
I
Right.
just question why he has such an attraction to so many of these pieces because he's building this museum for people to see these things. Ed
Right.
and Lorraine were taking these things. John Zaffis has his own museum. It
Yeah,
was
but
all about
people
protection.
people still pay to go in and see these things,
I know, but
but they
it
were
was
just much
different.
smaller scale, right?
They didn't
Nothing
have
is small in Vegas.
no, nothing is
You know,
small, but
nothing
they
is small in
had
Vegas, no.
Ed and Lorraine and John Zaffis. It was a different intention. It was about protecting the people from these items and keeping
Mhm.
them locked down so no one else got hurt. John's office did the same thing. He would put
Mm.
everything under glass. He had a show, Haunted
Everything
Collector.
was under glass
Yeah,
and, so
blessed. Yeah,
I mean, I understand there's a lot of these things that are under glass in the museum. I'm sure you could do a virtual quick tour with some of the things. I mean,
I think
Zach
so.
is filmed at the museum and you see it for what it
I
is.
don't think he would let it anywhere near where anyone could touch it, not because it's haunted, but
Just
because
for the
it's
value.
probably insured, and
Exactly.
he's not going to want anybody to
No,
damage anything.
exactly.
It's worth a
Next
lot more money in his museum than it is at his home.
All right, next question.
Yes, Kat. Hello, beauty. Have either of you or both of you seen an exorcism performed? If so, what was it like? What was the energy like? No.
Yes, not a Catholic one though. I worked with a lot of deliverance ministers, things like that. The Catholics, I
They
mean,
won't let you in.
unless you're trained, yeah, you just don't get to go in. And I
No.
could tell you the energy was very intense. I have seen crazy things happen, even in situations where I'm the only one there and I'm just gathering information and documenting it in order to go to that next step of having somebody come in and do the work, because I'm not a deliverance minister. Like I would go in, I would document, I would ask for psychological or psychiatric assessments, things like that, and I've seen crazy things, even crazy things that people have done to themselves in front of me.
Yeah.
And I yeah, it's insane. You feel the energy. I got to a point where I did not have to when I don't have to ask or go into a place to investigate it. If somebody I haven't realistically, Amelia and I started doing that a little bit,
Well, then the C thing happened.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but realistically, I stopped doing official investigations a really long time ago. So I know what to ask. I've been doing this for almost 20 years. I know what to ask. I can pick up on what I'm feeling. Like I know, just in how someone is speaking to me, whether it's in an email or over the phone, I already have a pretty good inkling as to
Yeah.
what's going on. And you don't need to go in there and aggravate things. You just don't. I think after a while you build enough of a name for yourself where if you are working with deliverance ministers, I mean, I worked with a great Christian team because the family I was dealing with for over a year was born again Christian and her husband was Muslim at the time. So I was working with two different faiths and so much was going on in that house, so much. I mean, I would watch people getting like stepped into. I watched a 4-year-old boy get stepped into,
Yeah.
and that was insane, but and that I was able to pull. just pull from him. Didn't mean I didn't pull it from the house.
Yeah.
But then watched him miraculously look at me and go, "Oh, hi, Michelle, what are you doing here?" I'm
That's
like, "Oh,
scary.
just thought I'd come and see you and give you a little hug." And
Michelle's stronger and more experienced. I think that thing would just suck me right in. I think it would just come right through me because I'm just so, it's different. It's hard. It's
it
harder
is.
for me.
It's very different. And I waited almost 9.5, 10 months for this team to come in. They traveled the world performing their version of exorcisms. And I'll tell you, 2 houses got infected by this one specific entity. These 2 people came in and started speaking in tongues. Now, I've never seen that in my life. And I'm kind of like going, I didn't know how to react.
Like in real life.
And
Yeah, that's
they
scary.
told me that they're like, okay, try not to laugh because it's going to be like nothing you've ever heard. And I'm just be like, okay. And honestly, it took me everything because I'm going, it sounded like gibberish. It's what it sounded like. I'm like, how do you know what you're even talking about? But she would channel it but I'll tell you, in less than 2 hours, they stepped foot in one of the 2 places and cleared both places. And that place remained clear. One never revamped. And the main one stayed clear for over a year, almost 2 years. And then one night I got a call from her and she said, I think you're supposed to come and have dinner. I'm like, why? What do you mean? And she said, because I was by myself, the volume on my computer was down because everybody was asleep. And then all of a sudden, something growled and said your name. So I started to laugh. I'm like, okay. So I came the next day and I got some takeout and I showed up. And as soon as I came to the door, she opened the door and all you could hear upstairs was boom, 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 boom. And she went, I was like, all right. So I went, I just smudged the house at that point because it was a really quick re-enter. It hadn't rooted itself. Nobody was,
That's when you want to get there.
communicating with it or doing anything. And I popped it out that night.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you, like, you're not always so lucky, but there's so many stories. People are like, you should write a book on this. It says, I don't have time. Number one. Number two, it's people's
I
personal.
just try to see you have time to write a book.
I know I don't have time
I don't have time to read one.
But I don't want to take. I've always been given permission to go ahead, tell our story. A lot of people that you've seen on Paranormal Survivor, some of those seasons, I donate a lot of people to these shows. I mean, I think I practically filled
but they're doing
a couple
it
of shows,
themselves.
they're
doing
at a
it
time.
themselves. Yeah.
And I'll tell you
Sharing
something.
it.
At that point, I don't know how comfortable I am in sharing somebody else's hardship. Do you know what I mean?
If they want you to, it's one thing because maybe I know with some people they've wanted to share it because it's happened to other people and to say, look, you can get through this. It won't, it doesn't have to take over your life kind of thing. And I love that, but I don't think it's our story to tell.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I know. And you know what makes it really hard is I've spent 2 decades working only malevolent cases because I think you either have the knack for it or you don't.
It's
You
not
either,
easy.
you just go full on and do it or you don't. Like we're all students in this field, no matter how long we've been doing this, we're all students in this field and we're always learning. After 20 years, I'm still learning. Every day I learn something new. And it's similar. Everybody goes, oh, a lot of these cases are the same. No, because the people are always different.
That's
How
not fair
their
to
belief
say that.
systems,
Yeah.
their faith, their mindsets, it's always
Their
different.
experience.
Everything. You
Yeah.
have to treat it differently. And no matter how many times I would experience or see certain things, I mean, we've had things, come to the house. I've spent a good chunk of my life, having things come to the house, trying to show up in advance because they always know Before you even get there, they know, and it's always unnerving, no matter what. No matter how many times you think you've seen it, it's always unnerving. Period. Right? So, I don't know. Thoughts?
I can't. I just personally don't want anything to do with it. I believe that you're in a different circle of people when you work that as well. Especially if you're talking about the rite of exorcism as because I can only speak for the one for Catholic. I can't speak for
Yeah.
anyone else. Then really do have experience people who actually work in the church. You have to be seriously devout, and that mindset has to be there in the belief that this is going to work. And you also have to follow what the priest does or the bishop does beforehand. There's a type of cleansing of your body physically, mentally, spiritually. It's not something you just run over and they call you and you go, oh, it's not like the movies. They're not hitting that holy water and exercising this thing out. It's not like that. These things are set up and they're pre-planned, which, remember, they watch and they already know what you're going to do before you do it. So it's on the mental level, I think it is so physically exhausting. And that's why only certain people can do it. Not meaning priests. I mean, people. We're human beings before you're a priest.
That's right.
So I feel that you're chosen, just as anyone is chosen in this field to assist in demonic or assist in any means of mediumship. I believe that is a calling.
Exactly. I think anybody who can, and this is what people need to realize, and then I really want to talk about Malachite. What people need to realize is it's far beyond just paranormal investigating, because I've seen kudos to people who go in and investigate and find answers, long forgotten answers in many cases, or trying to move people onward and so on. When you're getting into really heavy stuff, we take chances with ourselves, with our families.
Huge risks.
It is a huge risk.
Yeah.
And, I've had a family member victimized, and I won't even get into that. I've talked about it before. And that was really hard and humbling. I'll tell you, you get in there, not that you get cocky, maybe overconfident, because you're doing everything right for yourself. Like, you're going in there, you're protecting the people on site, you're protecting yourself, your team. You just don't, like, I've always did it to a point where I left unscathed, except for one time, and I got followed home, and a family member got literally went under attack, and at that point, it's so humbling when you realize the force of what is at play, and that is that.
I think you just answered Jonathan's question. I'm going to say no, Jonathan. It's a weakest link, and you're in this field. You've experienced this. It's the weakest link. It's like, let me put it to you this way, like the cartel. Okay. The cartel doesn't go after the person that wronged them or, whatever, betrayed them. They go after their family members. They skin them. They hang them upside down. This is what evil does. Evil will not hurt you. Evil will hurt the ones you love to hurt you. So that is your risk every time you go out and investigate. That is the risk you're taking, Jonathan. Anyone who's with you is taking that risk of bringing it home.
And you can take that risk just going to, like, a haunted location with an attachment, or, if you have an addictive personality, they're going to amp up those addictions. So you cause harm to yourself. You have to understand the ultimate reward in all of this. This is what the
goal,
why it happens. The goal here is soul energy, it's essence. So whether, if you kill yourself or kill someone else and then kill yourself, that's a double whammy. So All right, then. I don't know.
I'm just telling you, this is October.
Double whammy? I don't know.
I don't understand that. Birthday balloons.
But anyway,
Wow. I hope
was
that doesn't
weird.
mean a birth of a new case because we don't need it.
But you know what? It's just at that point where you have to be super, super cautious. And with that being said, I really would like to talk about Malachi Martin. You want to open that?
Well, Malachi Martin helped a lot of people, and there's a lot of controversy about how he passed away, if it was accidental
Mhm.
or if it just finally got to him. And in fact,
Mhm.
if you watch the documentary as he leaves, the gentleman that used to drive him, I don't remember their names because I'm terrible with names, like in
Ralph
general.
Sarchi, wasn't it?
No,
No. Oh, no, it was another man. That's right.
yeah, the young
Yes.
guy that always drove him to the case, and he
Yes,
would
that's
stay
right.
in his vehicle. He wasn't allowed to get out of his Jeep, and he would stay and wait. And he said to him, right before, this so-called accident, I don't believe it was accidental, and people that worked with him and in his office do not believe it was accidental.
Mhm.
There's all this controversy about, did it come at him to end him because he was winning? See, when you're good and they can't get to you, they're going to try and take you out so you stop interfering on their food chain. And he
Mhm.
did say to this young man, this thing's going to get me. I have two ways that I'm going to die. I'm either going to live through, get sick and die, or this thing's going to get me.
Mhm.
Fell off a stool, getting a book. Stool was clearly thrown
Kicked
across
out.
the room.
Yes.
No.
I
And shortly after the last, and I won't give away what the little girl said to him on that case.
And the show
I
is called
want you
Hostage to the
to
Devil,
the
I believe,
devil.
right?
And there's
Yeah.
there's a book as well, but it's a documentary film. And I won't say, because I don't want to give it away,
No,
because
it's a fantastic film.
it's
It really is.
it's pinnacle. Like it's just the entire reason, the words that come out of her mouth is the reason why he did what he did. So it's
Right.
really important to see and hear her say that it's the last case he ever did.
Right.
And it's important to understand it. And often what happens is it's the same entity that chases you case after case after case. That's why I said it would be interesting to
You're
see
chosen.
the
Yeah.
priest who worked on
And
Annalise.
if it came from somewhere else.
Yeah.
Yeah. I completely believe that. I do believe you.
But Ralph
I agree
Sarchi did
with you
work with him. He did work
yes.
with him. Yeah.
When you say, they choose you, they really do. And I found out, and I'm not an exorcist, okay, but just to show you, like little old me, okay, this is what I can validate to that. There have been times when, for example, like the last story I just told about the family I was dealing with, and when she called me and said something growled and came through and said your name, I've done radio interviews, and one time I was asked, "Do you think they know who you are?" And I'm very humble. I'm like, no, 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 no. I know they know who I am, and that's not a good thing. That's not something to say with pride. That's something like having a bullseye on your back is what that is. There was a medium in the chat room, and I said, "Oh no, I can't see that. I'm nothing really, compared to people who are doing exorcisms and who are on the front lines." And she basically said, she goes, they know exactly who she is. And then there was a whole conversation started, and I could see the chat room. I was like, I could see this one. And I looked at it, and it was very, very unnerving. Because I realized, you get something's attention, and that something is not the kind of attention that you want, because they go to their way to make your life hell. And believe me, they do it. You're always, always, always on guard, always.
Oh,
And
yeah.
a lot of the similarities that I had seen through the different cases often made me wonder, are we dealing with maybe a same one? I don't know. But here's a comment. Hey, Wayne.
Hi, Wayne. How are you?
This is a great comment.
I love this because I believe he said this on our show
He
once. He
did.
told us this story, and I
Yes.
love this because it's so profound. Um, Wayne Murphy from Tribal Land says, listening to the stories as a young child, I always heard of the devil who danced with some of our elder women who didn't realize who it was until they looked down and saw the hoofs on this handsome stranger's feet. Talk about a scary,
It
creepy story.
reminds me a little bit about is it Leap Mansion in
I don't
Ireland? The same
know.
idea where the devil came into on a stormy night and the family invited him in. This is going back
Yes,
1800s.
yes, yes, yes.
And the same idea that when, he was trying to woo the young daughter, and then when she looked down at his feet, she could see hooves, and she was never the same again. I believe like she was locked up in a room. She just sort of went. So that is really, really profound.
Oof, yes.
And here's also a good point as well.
Yes, Chris says demons might know your name, but so does Saint Michael, so does Christ, so does Mary. For every demon that knows your name, there are 1,000 angels that are protecting you. Absolutely.
Agreed.
You have to,
Agreed.
and that's the whole thing is mindset. And
Yes.
when someone's afraid, they don't unfortunately think of Saint Michael or a protection in their life or a belief in their life because they are frozen in fear. There's a lot to be said about those words. There's a reason why people can work as paramedics, as firemen, as policemen, because they are not frozen in fear. It's the same thing with this field.
Mhm.
The reason why they can, well, a lot of people can work it, but can't. But the reason why the ones that really help and are good at this is because they are not frozen in fear. They can stop, pause, and reach out for light. And it's
Time and space is irrelevant to them.
yeah, definitely.
You know.
If with the Annalise, I just want to say one last thing. With Annalise, when he finally gets all their names, if you recall, if you've seen it or you've read about it, every name that came out of that tiny little body, God rest her soul in peace. Every name that came out of her was the greatest tragedy in history, from the Bible all the way through all the tragedies were these demons behind these great things, Cain and Abel, the great 300, like everything that came through there was the demon that drove these huge evil entities, kind of like Hitler. So
Exactly.
you hear these things coming out, and when you know these names, which I don't repeat, but when you know these names, you're like, holy mother,
Well, do you remember we worked a case, and I can't get into the specifics because that's a whole other show, but we worked a case in Ohio, and
Mm.
that entity came forward and said, "I walked behind Christ when he carried the cross."
Try listening to that. Try
Well,
hearing that.
I have recordings of this
Yeah.
guy, and he sounded immense and old, ancient, and the talk he spoke in Aramaic, and it was just like ground shattering. Seriously, I
Yeah.
don't know if you've heard that.
Don't tell me that when people say to me about spirit boxes and voices and recording, oh, it's picking up sound waves. That wasn't a sound wave.
Well, that thing was on the recording that the
Yeah.
family caught.
Yeah.
So they were cleansing their house. They weren't communicating with it.
No, but I'm
They
saying to
were
people out
videotaping.
listening, yeah.
Yeah, they were videotaping. Um, they were videotaping the family members smudging the house, and this thing was talking the whole time.
Ugh, I
And
got
then
chills.
finally, it
Yeah.
blurted that out so loud, and it was like it sounded like it was right beside the person
And
who
that's
was
how
video
ancient it
recording the
was.
smudging. They were
Yeah.
documenting, right? They weren't communicating with anything. They were just praying, and they were smudging, and they were praying in prayer
No,
after
they were
prayer.
not. They were very devout. They were
They
not
were very,
communicating at
very
all.
devout. Yeah,
No.
So I mean,
That's
it's
a
just
scary thing to hear, because that's hugely ancient, and that's big. That's not just some
It
there's different
sounded,
levels. That's
it
not
just
something on the
sounded
ground floor
big
that comes from a
and
Ouija
old.
board. This isn't something that comes from a Ouija board. This is
I,
something that came before Earth was even here.
I'll tell you, I've got dozens, and I've got probably 200 or 300 EVPs, and some of them, bearing in mind the type of work that I've committed to doing, especially early days, I'm on site doing EVPs. I don't go on site to do them now. But at the time, I mean, I'm being called every name in the book. I'm being growled at. I'm being, like, oh my God, every name in the book.
You never forget
Threatened.
that first growl, right? Like that first one, you don't forget that one.
Oh, the first time I ever heard something like that, I was speaking with a person whom I investigated, and she said, "1 second, the postal person is here. I just got to go give them this letter because I don't want to miss it." I'm like, "Okay." So she put the phone down and on the table, and all of a sudden, I hear her go down the back stairs because it was a big old Edwardian house. She went down the back, the old servant stairs, so they're very crickety and I can have the
Yeah.
distant sound. I knew she went down there. The window was open. It was summertime. I could hear her talking outside. All of a sudden, her dogs went completely out of control, and it sounded like something grabbed the phone and it was growling, breathing. And I'm going, I know it's not the dog. It's in my mind. It's not the dog, right? The dog's still barking its face off. And
Yep.
it basically came through and called me an F and C. I'd never heard anything like that in real time in my life. The best I could come up with was, "You're such a potty mouth." I could not do any better than potty mouth at the time. I learned over time. I'm like, yeah, whatever. Like, I don't care. I won't give it to him. But that's the best I could do. And it kind of went like it's still growling, but I don't think it knew how to respond to me anymore than I
No,
knew how to respond to it.
because they're trying to egg you on.
I know.
Yeah.
And it didn't work with that, but I was taken aback for sure. I was just like,
Yeah. Never provoke anything like that.
oh heck no. So she came
No.
back upstairs. She goes, "Did you hear those dogs barking? Is your handler picked
No.
up your phone?"
Yeah.
To say on the matter.
Oh,
So, so
it's all
let's
about
do
intimidation.
yeah, oh yeah. They're bullies for
And
sure.
the more intimidation you get means the more what you're doing is pushing them away.
Yes.
So the weaker, the more frustrated, the more they come at you.
Station ID time.
Yes. I forgot all about that stuff,
I know.
because I've been away. Even today, I'm like, I'm talking to Michelle and chat, and I'm like, I think I need to get ready because
Never mind. I almost forgot to send the link.
yeah. Well, I could understand that. It's been a while.
Been a while.
It's been a while. Okay, let's get to it and let's get that beautiful cup out of the coffee that we all love. And because I haven't been here in a while, I'm going to say Folgers, Folgers, Folgers a million times. Folgers. You are listening to The Outer Realm with Michelle DeRoche and Amelia Pisano, coming to you live from the beautiful city of New Orleans on 105.3 and 107.7 FM, as well as we're on the Roku channel. Hello, everybody out there watching on Roku. We're streaming live and we're archived there. Please remember to share us with your friends. It's spooky October. So tonight we have an open mic and we are discussing everything from exorcisms to a great new purchase that was just out on Pop Culture TV, which is a little bit bizarre. And we've been sharing stories with everybody in chat, which is phenomenal. And that's why you should be joining chat when you're live with us. If you're just tuning in now and you're like, oh my gosh, I've missed it, don't worry about it, because you can stream our archives on any platform you normally use. Remember to click like and subscribe so you don't miss an episode. And don't forget to share us with our friends and family. If I don't say that, Tamara will kill me. To the wonderful people at Folgers Coffee, Folgers, Folgers, Folgers in your cup, for your continued support in sponsoring our show from the beginning. We deeply appreciate you, and we want to thank you again and again for your continued support. We wouldn't be here without you. Our fabulous banner and promo media. Thank you, Steve McGinnis, horror illustrator, fantastic artist. Steve creates commission pieces as well. And he can be found on Facebook. So you can contact him if you're looking for something. He does everything. Loving our intro because we do. And we love the man behind it. Thank you to Dr. Snick, the sonic surgeon, Justin Snicker, award winning composer, vocalist, and musician. You can find his music on Amazon and Bandcamp, stream him on any platform. And I'm telling you right now, if you go look up Dr. Snick on Instagram, and I've put him in my stories, he's got the Halloween collection out that he keeps dropping little clips and videos. You don't want to miss it. You want to be the cool one on the block during Halloween, you want Dr. Snick's music. Now, if you are watching us on Facebook Live right now or YouTube, make sure to give us a like, subscribe, and don't forget to share us with your friends and family. That was a long
There
one.
we go.
Yeah.
Okay. We had a question. I'm just trying to get
Okay.
it. Okay, right here. Okay.
Jonathan says, have you ever heard an entity laugh through with your bare ears? I was working at home and heard it right behind me. I have never done an EVP. I don't think I ever want to.
Yes. Many times I've heard them just with my naked ear, my bare ear, many times.
I'd
And
be concerned about it at home.
I was at home a couple times, a
Yeah.
lot of times when I'm on site, but yeah, a couple times. There was one time, just at the manor, actually, something was growling in the kitchen, and I was in a rush to get out of the house, and like I'm always in a rush to get out of the house, and it growled at me, and I went, "I don't care," and I just kept going, and that was, probably back in, I don't know, 2018, like it was way back there,
It
you
was
know.
before we met because I remember
Yeah,
you sharing
yeah.
that story with me the first
Yeah, I
time.
know.
Yeah.
It was funny.
We spent 8 hours in a restaurant.
We did. It was
Met for lunch and had
wine,
dinner. And
wine,
yeah,
dinner,
and Michelle's like, "I got people at my house. I need to go."
wine, dinner, and stories. Yeah, it's true. I did. All
It's
right,
like, "Oh
Wayne
my
is
gosh."
continuing on.
Wayne, it's so good to see you. Great to see and hear you all again. The second part is during the Great Depression. My father told me this story. When these two men were on a horse-drawn wagon and on logging road, and one said he needed to go into the woods to go to the bathroom. Upon coming to the bar that was for mostly Native American peoples, both were very poor as it was the Depression. The one who went to the woods when he got into the bar had pocket full of coins. The other asked, "How did you get that money?"
Uh,
As a young and as a
yeah, that
young
cuts off.
man, yeah, it
Yeah,
cut off. As a
it
young man,
cut
I
off.
have met with an elder woman who told me she had danced with the devil that night.
Yeah, that's crazy. I love that story
Wow,
though.
Wayne.
I
There's a
know.
lot of horror there.
Wow. Um, yes, when I said potty mouth, I guess I was acknowledging it, because I was shocked. So,
Yeah.
That's the
On the
first
phone, you don't expect it.
it's the first time I had ever heard something come through a phone, or I would hear it on recordings and investigations and things like that, but I never heard something come out directly at me and communicate to me like that. So I was just like, "Oh," you know? So that was pretty much an acknowledgement, so don't do that at home, kids. Don't do that
No.
anywhere, actually. But
But that
those
but that comes from it
early days, yeah.
that's how you know because you experienced it and
That was
you
back in,
learned and
like, 2006 or 2005, so early days for me,
yeah.
early days for me. So, boy, oh boy, yeah, a whole lot of, live and learn moments for sure, but
There's no perfect formula, even though pop culture and paranormal shows wanna tell you that, there isn't one. There's so
mhm,
many variables to the I don't wanna call it a case, but to the experience that's happening to these people. There's
mhm,
so many variables. Michelle says it all the time, whether it's their mindset, their religion, is someone unwell, is someone on medication, all these questions have to be answered. It really is an investigation before a deliverance.
mhm. It's true. It's true. And you know what? I don't want people to go out, I mean? It is the season, and it is, and I don't want people to be afraid to go out because they think, "Oh boy, this is what I'm gonna come across." Remember, this was my choice, and this was my area of work and research, and I say area of work and research because I still research. I do it differently, but I'm still learning. You can never go in there with the attitude that you know everything, because we have no clue the forces that are out there. Even a benign human spirit who's grounded here can get mad enough to do something to try to get your attention. And because they're still people. But I think, oh yeah, I think people just need to show due diligence all the time. Be aware of your surroundings. Um, Wayne.
Yeah, Wayne says that was the same house that I visited and woke up at 7 a.m. with the bed I was sleeping in moving out from the wall about 10 inches and then back to the wall. Let me tell you something. If you want to read a really good series during this time, you need to get Wayne Mellow's series, The Vampire Tales. How can they get that book, those books?
WayneMallows.com.
There you go.
Right there.
That
And
is a perfect time to
perfect for
read
this
it
time
as
of
right
year.
now. My
That's
gosh,
right.
yes.
That's right.
Yes.
Exactly. So before we get on to maybe setting the stage with cool movies, let's just talk for a few minutes about what to do when because it is a season. So what can you do to protect yourself? Where can you go to get into the spirit, so to speak?
Grounding.
Check your local libraries, check the local newspapers, go online, see which events are, putting, or see which venues are putting on events. Most towns or nearby areas will have ghost tours or ghost walks, or might have an event. Oh, we're having, a haunted event. Come on out. It'll cost you this much, and you can come in and investigate the house with us, or they'll give a talk at a local library. I used to do all kinds of talks at local libraries. Even I used to even get asked to go speak at homes for the aged. So I would go in, had all these old people who were just so into it. And then they would always pull me aside and give me even better stories from them when
Yeah,
they were
but why
growing up.
not? Like
Oh, I love
they
it.
have their own experiences. They're
They
just older.
do.
Yeah.
I know
They probably have better
it was
ones
awesome. I loved
because
it.
they probably had better ones because they lived through really trying
Oh
times,
my
right?
gosh. But you
Yeah.
get the history of the area too, which is cool, because I got a lot from, the city that I was in. I'm like, no kidding. I had no freaking idea that was a thing. It was amazing. But there are a lot of places that will have events. So how can you protect yourself? Any ideas? Bubbles,
You
you
want it
want to
from
start?
me? Oh, I thought you were waiting for them to enter grounding. Good
Yeah.
night, Jonathan. Good to see you.
Hey, Jonathan.
Have a good night. Yeah, grounding is a big one. I feel that the more you know about the place and the better prepared you are, the better experience you will have and the less chance of anything going wrong. There's no guarantees nothing will happen,
Mm,
because we all drop our shields or our walls at one point or another, especially if we're having fun or a little bit of a fright. I'm not afraid of many things, but I get startled very damn easily. Like if you go boof and come from behind me, I will jump. But
mhm.
if something's coming at me, it's a
Being
different thing.
startled, I think, is a bit different
It's
than
different
being
than being
frightened.
afraid.
I
Yeah.
startle easily, but I'm pretty fearless on an average
Yeah,
in general.
I think we're both that way. We're really strong and in control in really bad situations.
Mhm,
And like I said, uh, paramedics, police officers, firemen, they're
mhm.
all the frontline workers, they're all like that.
Right.
Nurses, you have to be able to think through what's going on. You can't panic.
Mhm,
That's the key. Your
mhm.
mindset is everything. We say that over and over and over.
Yes, like,
Michelle keeps
don't
talking
go
about
into
it.
a place doing what some people do on TV. Don't go in challenging anything. Be
Yeah.
respectful.
Yeah.
Just be
Don't talk to
respectful.
anything.
Don't talk to anything. No, no. But
Don't talk
I
to
mean,
anything.
listen to the history. If you're gonna go into an event, you should be told the history of the area. You should be able to, um, listen to the stories that they're telling you about the spirits of the home or the activity, the experiences. Just go in and be respectful. First off, you'll get more. If you're meant to be that person, you're gonna get more. Don't You think you're going to go in there start being all bossy and big person and demanding this and that? Chances are you're not going to get anything because if they have their choice to deal with people, if you're dealing with something negative, they're going to be okay, challenge accepted. And
Mm.
then you may have a bigger problem after the fact. But if you're dealing with a benign spirit, I wouldn't be talking to some a hole. If I was dead, I'd be talking. I love that. Whatever it
And
is,
it's
it's
the
good.
one symbol she hates the most.
I know.
What
Don't
the
ask.
heck?
I don't know. I don't know.
The birthday
Oh my
okay, that
God.
I get because you made the symbol, but the birthday balloons? I'm still trying to figure that
I
one
don't
out.
even know, honestly.
I think after I read this comment that Wayne says, you need to talk to people about mimics because
Okay.
this happens at investigations and it's something you need to know about. If you Wayne says if you come up behind Michelle and startle her, you're going to wake up on the ground. Do you notice? I will have to agree with him. She attacked me with my own book.
I didn't attack you. I hit you by accident. It was a reflex. He startled me and it was a reflex. Why do you tell people that?
Did you ever take kickboxing?
No, but I probably should.
Because kickboxing's like that. When you kickbox for a few years, your reflexes are so on alert.
I
I
have
would
fast
hit
reflexes.
I would hit John like
Yeah,
it was
I'm
crazy ass stuff,
fast on
but
the
yeah,
reflex.
yeah.
Okay, mimics.
I'm quick to hit. I'm just gonna say that now. If you come up from I'm quick to do this, so
Small but mean.
yeah, but I'm
Um,
quick. Yeah.
um,
Mimics, yes.
mimics.
Yes.
Okay. Well,
Don't say, "Come home with me, little boy."
then maybe you don't have a little boy.
Yeah.
See, this is where people sometimes go wrong. They'll go to a location thinking that they're communicating with a small child or a benign spirit. And this is where children are often targeted because they're easy to manipulate, right? So
Yeah.
just remember if you're dealing with a child, there's always going to be something off. A little child's going to be shy on average, and you may have one that will play with you. Just be leery. Honestly, if you're not with a medium, you should be. Because a lot of really malevolent entities that people call demonic or just plain malevolent can easily mimic the actions, the voice, and the appearance of anything, be it an animal, be it an adult, be it a child. A child is easy because people feel at ease with a
Mhm.
child more so than anything.
Your guard comes down.
Exactly.
Your guard
Exactly.
comes down.
Yes, exactly.
Just like why do you think so many child abductors use the puppy thing? Because the guard comes down on the
That's
child.
right.
He's no longer a stranger. He's got a cute puppy somewhere and he needs help. A little boy needs help. A little girl needs help.
Mhm.
A child. Yeah.
Mhm.
Tamara says answering ghosts is like picking up the phone and not knowing who is at the other end, and you cannot confirm this, so it's best not to answer. Have to agree
Communication
there.
devices are big with that, yeah,
Yeah,
as
yeah.
well.
And Wayne says a mimic, from my understanding, is a demon playing a loved one or something benign. Absolutely.
Yes, yes.
Doppelganger is something a little bit different. I mean, they are mimicking someone, but there's a whole, just to address Chris,
Mhm,
there's a whole other reason for a doppelganger. And there's stories and different, I don't know if they're myths or if they're stories that if you see your doppelganger, then you're going to pass away or something like that. I
mhm,
don't know much about them. Michelle would
yeah.
have to address
It's
that.
no, that's pretty much the old wives' tale for sure,
Yeah.
but now it doesn't mean that that's the case, but,
No, because Phil Siracusa said that he had seen
yeah,
his, and,
and he's still with us, and he's on Horse Farm Chronicles every
absolutely.
Monday at 8 p.m. Eastern.
Yeah,
Right,
absolutely,
there we
and,
go.
also, oh my god, Rob Bestie's his one of his people on his team saw him, and it wasn't him,
Right,
and he's still out there.
right,
So, yeah,
right.
but there's just there's so much to there's I almost feel like it's almost like, Slenderman, like, there's so much to Doppelganger, you don't really
Mm,
there's not a lot of stories about people's experiences as there are stories about what they are.
mhm. I've had it
Mm.
happen, I bet you in all the years I've been doing this maybe 5 times, and one was a child. And the parent was very concerned because the
Yeah.
boy came home from school and said, I saw myself today.
That's
And mom was
creepy.
just like, thankfully, mom was versed and went
Yeah.
and messaged me and said, I need to make sure that this theory is just a theory and nothing more because this is what happened. It's quite terrifying,
It's
you know.
actually kind of like segue into movies, the film
I
Mirrors.
was just about to say,
The
okay,
the
go.
the film Mirrors. The
Yes,
doppelganger comes in and works from the mirror
that's right.
side of the
Which is
spiritual world.
freaky if you think
Yeah,
about it, because mirrors are actually portals, right? Or
yeah.
they can create portals.
I didn't put that on my list, but it is a really great film.
It is.
This
It
is the time
is.
of year where even if I have to stay up till 5 o'clock in the morning, I will watch one film almost every day.
Right.
But it's terrible because I put that post out and I said to Michelle, I'd really love to discuss some of these movies because one thing I noticed when going through a lot of titles that almost every real experience that's been documented and created into, a horror genre or however you want to put it with Hollywood have started with a Ouija board.
You're not wrong. Lorraine Warren always said, I think one of the worst cases they ever worked started because of a Ouija board.
Yeah. And
Why
The
do you,
Exorcist started with the Ouija board. It was
that's
with
right.
his aunt.
That's
So,
right.
The Exorcist, and you have to look at the time that those boards are really popular as well in the 70s because it was marketed as a game board at that
Mm,
time when Parker Brothers took it over.
right.
So they would actually say, oh, like, oh, they're playing the game. Playing a it's not a game, honey.
No, it's true. It's true.
Yeah.
So again, I think it comes down to intention.
Hmm. Absolutely, because now we know you can communicate through anything.
Hmm.
Did you
So
like my
yeah,
cheese board I sent? The picture of the cheese board I sent?
yes, yeah, yeah. It's not just, Ouija boards, which you can create yourself even through like a cheese platter. But you
I don't know how well it would work because you'd eat all the olives and I'd have the pickles down. So I
I
think there
know.
would be nothing left over. And there was only one piece of bread on that damn thing.
I
But
know, so that would be it. But you can do it with spirit boards, you could do it with ghost boxes, you could do it with voice recorders, you could do it with phone apps. I think it comes down to intention. If you are asking, even pendulums. I worked a case was really bad. Started with a pendulum. She thought she was talking to her mom, and that was not the case. So I think that the intention of wanting and inviting communication, however you do it, was where things like this go wrong.
can I take a shot at my own culture?
Yeah.
When you said pendulum, the Italians will take wedding rings, put them on a gold chain, and spin them on, use it as a pendulum while their crucifix is hanging from there
Right.
over the person's hand to tell them if they're going to have girls or boys, but they don't believe that you should have anything to do with the occult. So I'm just going to put that out there because of all the years of torment that I took from a lot of people. This is something that you people that have said something about what I do, your mothers have done. So
Your
remember that
mothers were
next time.
dousing.
Remember that next time that is dousing and that is pendulum, that is working the
That is
energy spirit
dousing.
world.
It is.
So let's just be careful what we
Yeah,
say is green when it's blue. But
right.
anyways, I just had to
Okay.
get it out there. As soon as you said pendulum, I
I
went,
know.
I could see that gold chain with my aunt. But yeah.
Okay, so let's tackle another movie. Let's try to squeeze a couple in.
Okay. Well, all about we discussed all about Annalise, a lot on her. Malachi has the documentary Father Amorth, the Pope's Exorcist.
Yes, that's a great
Fantastic
one.
film.
See, to
Fantastic
me, that's the
film.
best kind of Halloween and spooky month is watching crazy spooky movies.
Yeah, not gore. Slasher movies
No, no,
don't
no,
do it
no,
for
no.
me. You won't
True
see
spooky
Halloween
movies.
on those lists. No, I want to see,
Yeah.
something that has some kind of
Netflix has lined up a
history
whole
to it.
Halloween section.
Yes. And of course, Michelle's favorite and mine, the 1982 version of The Entity, which was based on a true story and has actual footage in the
That's right.
film
That's
from the
right.
University of Pennsylvania,
That's right.
which you know as Penn State in the
That's right.
paranormal world.
That's right.
So, yeah,
On the right.
The Right is a phenomenal
Also
film
one of
with
my
Sir Anthony
favorites.
Hopkins, and it
Yes.
tells a true story of a young man becoming a priest and questioning himself, and it is his story of how he was called to go to the Vatican to learn to become an exorcist because they felt he had that calling and that gift.
But you see what
So
happened when he lost his faith?
yes,
He was
and
he was
did you
attacked
see
in
they
the end.
had, and I'm gonna tell you this is a true story, I'm not lying, and you will see in the background when he's at the airport, the Icelandic incident that happened, um, in Iceland there when they had the, oh my gosh, I can't even find the words for it. There was that natural disaster that happened in Iceland.
Okay.
So that's in the background on the TV screen while he's on the phone
Oh,
at the airport. I'm just
wow.
telling you, like, this is when
Yeah,
it happened. This is in the last 20 years. Okay. So this
right.
is really fresh. Yeah, Chris, you saw the Pope's Exorcist. You weren't impressed. Well, maybe because the CGI is at the end, but it is a true story. And if it wasn't for Father Gabriel and Marth, um, we would not have what we have today as the school at the Vatican that
Mhm,
is teaching religious leaders and deliverance ministers all over the world, not just Catholics.
mhm. No,
Um,
it's nice that they've opened up to deliverance
yeah,
ministers as
you're
well.
going to always have some form of CGI, especially right now, and some
Mhm,
kind of little silliness because it's
mhm,
part of entertainment world. It can't. I'm friends with Andrea Perrin. I can tell you, The Conjuring is not her story, and she has said it over and over again. So a lot
mhm,
of people love that movie. That is not her story. In fact, they couldn't even film it because it was that harsh. So it has to have some entertainment factor. It can't
mhm.
freak the f out of everybody
Right, right.
'cause they're trying to sell tickets. It's about the money with that.
Mhm,
And our friend Sarchi, who, his story is Deliver Us from Evil. You know,
mhm,
being a cop who didn't even have any faith at the time because of everything he had seen and how it affected him and how it came for him,
mhm.
and later worked with Malachi.
Right.
So, yeah,
See,
pretty
everything kind of
cool.
comes around full circle. What I liked about The Right is the fact, that when the priest lost faith, he started losing faith because he
Yep,
lost someone. He lost someone
yeah.
to the attachment to the demon, and he himself, because he let his guard down, got grabbed.
I think the greatest exorcists of all times have had that experience. I think it's the only way they learn, you know? Yeah,
It's
Ralph Sarchi's a really good guy. But
right.
yeah, I believe that if we sat down with exorcists, I mean, you see Bishop James Long. I mean, he's a good friend, and you hear his story on the Legion of Exorcists, and you're just like, holy cow. When you see it, they have been touched a certain way. And that's why I believe it's a calling that, they get pulled and dragged because, again, it goes back to this thing's always targeted you and why. Is it
Mhm,
generational? That's a whole other show. Is it generational? Is it something that you came in contact with, or was it something that your family did, or centuries
mhm,
ago, or did you touch someone and it transferred over? There is a film called Devil, and they say that it's fake, but she really is at this psych ward in Rome, and we've talked about this before.
mhm,
Um, and her name is Maria, and she was assisting in a deliverance, and that thing jumped into her. So this is why they're selective in who is there, and you should think twice about offering, especially with the deliverance. Roman Catholic doesn't worry me because they have their own people,
mhm.
and they're very particular of who's there.
Now that you're on the internet, you have to be careful because there's a lot of online courses and things like that. Some are very legitimate, some not so much.
Most of them are money grabbers.
Yeah, you have
Yeah.
to just do your homework and see what the best fit is for you. But just be prepared either way that you are better to prepare yourself because I didn't take any courses. I'm not a deliverance minister. I'm not an exorcist. Never have been, and learned the hard way with some things. And I'll tell you, you either have to commit. You can't second guess. You second guess, you can leave yourself into some trouble.
Yeah. Yeah, he is, Chris. I've been friends with him for a long time.
Good.
Um, I yeah, and I told Michelle that she needs to watch the film, the remake of The Omen, and I'll tell you why. Because a lot of people fight me on this one and say, "Oh, but how do you remake?" There are 2 remakes that I prefer. One is The Omen and one is Amityville Horror. Why? Because they extend the story. In The
Right.
Omen, after the wife dies, and I'm not giving anything away because everybody in this chat room have seen that film 100 times. He continues his journey to figure out what happened. So there's more to it. And I mean, Liv Schreiber, come on.
I
Why
know.
wouldn't you watch it? You
Exactly.
know, like I could just watch it for hours, but
Exactly.
he plays this role he's spectacular in it. He's
Mhm,
convincing and he carries that film.
mhm.
So it's worth watching the Omen remake.
Right.
Very impressed with that story. It takes a lot for me to say something like that because I
Mhm.
personally not a fan of horror films.
Right.
I think they're poorly done. But
Mhm.
this told the history behind that demon and you keep following. You don't need to watch the original, Wayne, just watch the remake. It's
Yes.
so good.
Yes.
Yeah,
So, we're at the top of the hour,
so
guys, and, it just flew by.
good.
I know.
Always does.
They go by so quick, honestly, but
Yeah.
you guys make it that
Oh, I'm
much more
sorry,
fun.
Wayne.
Wow.
I ruined it for him. I didn't know there was anybody who's never seen it.
He'll forget, don't
Okay.
worry.
Yeah. Wait a week, then watch it.
And to you
Thank
also,
you.
darling. Thank you.
Great province of New Brunswick. How lucky are you?
Well, again, end of the show already, but jeepers. I love when we do these, and I'm gonna try to squeak in another one somewhere soon. But anyway, there's nothing like the Halloween one, Spooky
Yeah.
month is always good. So guys, thank you for tuning in. You always make it that much better. We love to interact with you. Big thank you to Folgers Coffee, who sponsor us tonight every night. Wonderful. We appreciate you so very much. And we couldn't do it without you, literally. Big thank you to Dr. Snick, Justin Snicker. Big thank you to Steve McGinnis. Thank you. Thank you. If you guys want to see a specific guest, maybe want to be a guest or see a certain topic on the show, please email us at the outer realm contact at gmail.com. That's the outer realm contact at gmail.com, or go to our Facebook page and click on the email button. That will take you right to us as well. Tomorrow afternoon, for those who are interested, I'm going to be joining my good friend Victoria Benison on her show, which is right here in the United Public Radio
What
Network,
time? What time?
called Speak with Vicky.
Yes,
And
which
yes,
is
yours truly is going to be here on the show. We're going to be talking about different paranormal things, and you know whatever. I always talk about different paranormal things. It'd be a lot of fun because she does it with her own personal flair.
oh,
And
she's amazing.
I'll be showing some of the pictures from Romania, because we'll be talking about, she wants to talk about my Transylvania trip. So we're going to discuss that. It's going to be a lot of fun. She's just delightful. So it's 1 p.m. Eastern, it's noon Central, 9 a.m. Pacific time for you diehards out
Ooh,
there.
that's early.
I know. Tomorrow night, though, right here back on the Outer Realm, we welcome back Deborah Thunderbeat. She was on a couple months ago, a few weeks ago. Just
I can't wait.
amazing.
My first time.
And she's going to be discussing ancient Egypt and Sedona. And you did hear that right. And she's going to have a show and tell. We got pictures. Anyway, the book is called Sedona Faces in the Rocks, Ancient Egypt Found in Sedona. So she's just a delightful, delightful human, period. And it's going to be a really amazing segment. So make sure you tune in. Until then, we shall see you guys tomorrow. Everybody behave. Good night.